Hello.
I don't care about the White House. Tear it down for all I care. But please check under the foundation. Trump's going to hide Epstein files under there. That's today's intro.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh. There's an echo. They were right. We live in an echo chamber over here.
Got it covered. That should be stopped now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Calling It Now. This is the show where we supposedly live in an echo chamber. Meanwhile, we are offering you the opportunity to call in and tell us why we are wrong, how we are wrong. Hey, was redirect set up? I don't think redirect was set up. I don't think people got automatically kicked here. Yeah, usually we get a notification and people are saying they manually moved over.
Fucking balls. I mean, I did tell people, so I'm sure most people were like, it's not moving me. What's going on?
Yeah.
I don't think I can go back and redo it.
Well, there's no way to do it now. It's done. It's over. It's gone. We're out.
I ruined it. I'm sorry. I know I suck. I should just No, I'm just kidding.
Show's canceled, people. We're out. No, we're going to take calls. If you believe that MAGA is good for America, if you take any of the positions we don't, right? We are not Christians. We are not Muslims. We are not Republicans. We're not Democrats. We're not capitalists. We are not transphobes. We are not queerphobes. If you are any of those things, if you are pro-life, you like the abortions, you love getting yourself some abortions, or you hate the abortions. I love getting abortions. I get a recreational abortion every week. You can call us. The phone number is right there, and it is so easy to remember. And listen, the other day we did a show. Somehow by the end of the show, 100,000 views. The one with Promise and I. And I'll tell you, I started that show different. Usually I'm like, call in. Let's have a nice convo. But that one I was like, call in. But you won't, because you guys can't fucking defend your shit. You fucking can't unless you yell over or you ignore the point. And by the way, the calls that called in after proved the point. We had some asshole who called in who was like, economically, Kamala Harris was worse. And I was like, okay, go ahead and name a single economic direct to citizen person. And they just kept trying to say like, well, the over cascading effect of like immigration policy would have caused this economic thing, which we already pointed out, except for we already know that immigrants are a net benefit, including undocumented immigrants, because they pay into the tax system and take out much less. And so pointed all of that out and was like, all right, so now give me a thing that's an actual economic policy of hers, direct to them, direct to the citizen, and actually name one policy, not a general, I don't like how she would have handled immigration, even though immigration was already going on decline at the time. Illegal immigration was already going on decline at the time. Couldn't. And then it tries to move from that to like, she raised her hand in 2016 that she would have allowed an illegal immigrant to be treated at a hospital. They would have gotten health care. Like you can't. MAGA, if you could debate, you would call in. If you had good points for why MAGA is good for America, you'd call in, and you'd call in right there. 33654-32101, 33654-32101. Where are the Charlie Kirks? Where are you? Y'all say we created 1 million Charlie Kirks because somehow we killed them, even though we didn't. We created 1 million Charlie Kirks. 1 million Charlie Kirks. And yet y'all don't call. And y'all ain't got shit. You definitely don't directly engage when you call. You just try and like fucking obfuscate. You commit fallacy after fallacy. And it's like, just answer questions directly. You'll get your opportunity to say your little bit. But let's get to the fucking bottom of it. Y'all just can't do it. Y'all can't do it. Anyway, how are you today, Arden?
I'm waiting for it. I'm okay. I mean, I don't know. Shit sucks lately.
Yeah.
But I got an early hammock birthday present, which has been based. I got a cool present from you, which has been based.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what'd you get? That's cool. I forgot you met me.
Speaking of which, how are you feeling about the new Pokemon game? We didn't get a chance to like chat about it yet.
I feel so weird. I think people just have to hate shit now. Right? Look, I know I was on the outside when it comes to whatchamacallit, that Thor movie you hated so much. And I was like, if you take the goats out, perfect movie to me. The goats sucked, but otherwise, great movie. I know that there are times, but I can at least detect when I'm like, all right, I know what they didn't like. They didn't like this. They didn't like that. They're being a little too blah 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 blah. And now here's what it's stacked up against and had to compare to. Fine, Taika Waititi's not your thing because you're not queer. Fine, okay, just kidding. That one was attacking me.
Whoa.
It's great when he does What We Do in the Shadows, but he brings that to a Marvel comic and everyone loses their mind. Anyway, fine. I get why I'm on the outs on that. Okay, I get it. Pokemon Legends ZA is my favorite Pokemon experience of all time.
I'm actually with you on this. I was so mad because I got the new Digimon game, right? And it got nothing but good coverage. And people were like, oh my God, the people who'd played ZA earlier were like, this is going to kill Pokemon. ZA sucks. This new Digimon game is great. And I've liked the Digimon game. One of the best Digimon games I've ever played. But it's got a lot of things that I'm like, for a game in 2025 of this caliber, like some of these things are inexcusable. And there's some things maybe I could say about that in ZA. Honestly, it's mostly the Pokemon designs, the mega designs that I kind of hate. But a lot of them I find I've grown to love for the humor of it.
Yeah,
but the game itself is amazing. The combat system, better than it's ever been. Like, actually requires more.
I actually want to do combat now.
Yeah.
Like, but in the old games, I only wanted to like do the gym battles and just get through the game itself. I would avoid certain trainers unless I was grinding XP. Now I'm like, oh, it just turned to night. You know what? I'm gonna go hit that battle zone I don't even need to hit right now.
Yeah.
Love it.
And in the first Legends game, the thing where you were catching a lot of Pokemon, I didn't really feel like I was well incentivized for it. Also, my birthday's not until the end of November, guys. It's been real early. I saw someone say happy birthday. Not yet, Queen. I wasn't as incentivized, I felt like, in Legends Arceus to catch a lot. It was like, I get it's the point, you get some unlocks, but it doesn't really feel fun to me. In ZA, there have been so many situations where I'm like, oh, I need way more than 6 Pokemon ready to go at any given time. So on top of like leveling up and stuff, I'm like, oh, I actually want to go out and catch a ton. Like, it's fun to get a bunch of quick balls and be like, let me run around this zone and just catch like 20 of this given Pokemon to try to also find like the best nature for that Pokemon that I want on my team.
Also, not having to complete the Pokédex, but having a good side research thing to get the shiny charm. I like that. Because you know that's the final thing on the research tree, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's dope. Anyway, that's Pokemon, which is not what you can call in and debate us on. Okay, that is not, there's no invitation to, let me get my balls open. Why are my balls closed off? There we go. Let me get them a little bit more in shot there. There you go. Now you can all see my balls. We think that MAGA sucks. And if you think that you can defend MAGA, you think you can defend being anti-abortion rights, we are here to talk to you. And by the way, if you think that trans people are unbased, we'll talk to you too. 33654-32101. That's a nice shirt, by the way. I need to get one of those. That's actually dope.
I will take somebody on trans issues. However, I would love it if somebody who wants to explain why MAGA is good for America could do so without saying, well, these Democrat policies I don't like. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Could you actually make a positive case for Donald Trump and not just say, yeah, and not just say, well, he don't like them transgenders. If you can, you can do it without saying something about trans people, that'll be way more compelling. I think not just to us, but to the audience.
We did a show last week, which now maybe someone will do it, but we'll see. We did a show last Tuesday, not this previous one, but the one prior. I'm trying to remember who was on, but it was like, okay, can one person make a case that MAGA is good for women without mentioning trans people at all? None of them could. It literally was like, well, because the trans is no man in the bathroom, but no. That's my impression of what I imagine Bill Cosby now sounds like.
This is why I've been calling it trans derangement syndrome, y'all. It's an actual disease. They cannot help but think that trans people are the cause of every single malady in society. And it's like, it's so detached from reality. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm like, you can just jerk off to trans porn and not turn into a
dude. That's so the thing too. That is so like well, you know this better than anybody because you used to sell it to them. You
Yeah,
knew who
and
was coming right after destroying your.
100%. All of those people were people who were straight and were like, I am straight and I am interested. And every single one of them wanted to get their backs blown out. There
Yep.
wasn't a single straight dude, and they were all claiming to be straight. Whether or not they actually were, sure, we can have a debate about that. Every single one wanted their backs blown out. Not a single one was like, I'm here because I see you as a woman and I want to have sexual relations with you as a woman. It was like all about, they were like, when the dick is not on a man, now I want it. That was 100% of what it was.
It was their own gay loophole. All right, listen, people, here's the deal. If you're MAGA, call in. Let's converse. We can have a polite conversation, or if you want to go at it, we can go at it. Kiss me on the mouth. Okay? 33654-32100. So easy to remember. 33654-32101. Call us and let's get chatting. We'll start reading some super chats while we wait for the first MAGA caller. So people go ahead and send super chats if you want some responses there. Space Barbarian said, what's with these MAGA chuds going against the spirit of Neil Diamond's America on immigration? You're coming to America. Yeah. Also, how about just the Statue of Liberty spirit of America, right? Immigration is great for America. And here's the biggest thing. When you know how they're like, if you don't like America, get out. I think that means you have to get out, because America isn't an ethno state. America isn't like, my people have been here and always been here. We're a colonialist state. We took it, but then we made it an immigration hub. Give us your goddamn masses, right? That's the point of the concept of America is there's a country that everyone's allowed in. Everyone should come to and make a better life. If you need it to be a white majority company, I almost said that, but also accurate. If you need it to be a white majority country, then you're in the wrong country. Move to granted, you won't like some of them because they're socialist, but there are plenty of super white countries where it's like they are going to preserve their whiteism over there, right? But that's not the point of America. So if you don't like America, you get the fuck out. Get out.
Yeah. Literally just 50 years ago, Schoolhouse Rock was massive, and one of their biggest songs was called The Great American Melting Pot. This has been a staple of United States culture for about as long as we've existed, that we are the great melting pot where people from all cultures and all countries come together to build a life.
But you're born here and you're like, that makes me special because I was born here. So now I'm going to isolate it to just best for what I consider my people. You should consider people your people, you fucking asshole. Bro, I keep almost saying, granted, only the slurs I'm allowed to say, but I keep almost slipping harder than ever. And I wish it was the R word I was referring to. The amount that I almost just slip as a queer man and start just, you know what I'm saying? And being like,
I do know what you're saying. I almost dropped one of those, I think, on the fundraising stream. I forget what the context was, but
that would have been the worst time to do it. I think that would have been when they would have had to have released a statement of I
stopped myself, but it was real close.
I'm honestly surprised, though, with some of the places I went with it, that nobody was like, just to be clear, while we appreciate their donations, the words of the line, and specifically Jimmy Snow, do not reflect the values of the organization. Especially when I started talking about armpits or something. Didn't I get weird about fucking armpits? Something happened.
I don't remember. So, to be fair, I feel like they probably ought to just issue that statement before, no matter what we say, just because,
Yeah. By the way, people,
alive for 8-9 hours. It don't matter how you are. Some shit's gonna come out when you're alive.
Thank you for
that
trying
long.
to pretend that would be a good excuse, right? Thanks for helping me. It takes that for me to become unhinged, because as I recall, the first time I literally, the first hour was with Taylor, right? I ended the hour by apologizing, saying, Taylor, I just realized you're here and we're not close the way you, Alyssa and Arden and I are. And I just included you in this weird shit I'm doing. And so I literally apologize. It's like, we shouldn't presume that warmth. I presumed that type of expectation of friendship from somebody on the fundraiser before, and they were not happy about it. So they were real upset. Cry, white man. Anyway, Fuzzy Logic says, you keep saying that name, Charlie Kirk. Who is that? Do you mean Kirk Cameron? Yeah, I do. Sorry, my bad. Kirk Cameron. Charlie Kirk. I don't know who that is. Sounds like some dead guy. Piriform says, so I get why this isn't the show for it, but when is the line starting the Pokemon debate show? And Jessica says, Zerbion sucks. I will come to your house. I am on my way. I'm getting an Uber right now to your place, and I'm going to hit you with a hyper beam. All of that sounded weird as I review all of what I just said. So let's just start over. Hi, I'm Jimmy Snow. This is Dear Mr. Atheist, where every Thursday, all right, we have a call waiting for us. But a reminder as we go ahead and take this call, people, you can call us at 33654-32101. That is 33654-32101. And I'm wondering if this call is satirical because of what happened today, but hang on. Stephen in Washington. Stephen, you are on the line with Arden and Jimmy. How are you, Stephen?
Doing just fine.
And Stephen, how's the weather in Washington?
Not too bad at the moment. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice in a lot of places. We got tornado weather coming up here in Texas and this weekend though, and that always stresses me the fuck out. Stephen, how old are you?
30 years old.
30 years old. And are you actively politically in the last 3 elections, or would you have access to 4 at 30? How many elections have you been eligible to vote in?
I was a delegate for Bernie Sanders in the state of Idaho, and that was the first election I participated in.
What year was that? 2016?
It would have been his first run, yeah, so 2016.
Okay. And you would have been, what, 21 at that point?
I believe so. I wasn't really interested in politics before that.
So you were a delegate for Bernie, but then in the general election, who did you vote for?
I didn't vote.
So you didn't vote. Were you Bernie or bust, or you just?
Yeah, I saw an opportunity for the country to make a positive change with Bernie, and then I saw what the Democratic establishment did to him, and just I was fed up with the whole thing.
Okay. I mean, the Democratic establishment, I'm not a Democrat, so I'm not going to sit here and say that they're good. But what the Democratic establishment did was essentially make sure that a Democrat won their primary. And so while it was scummy and they clearly had their favorite, Democrats did what Democrats do. You know, they protected their billionaire class buddies. But I whatever. Anyway, lesser of two evils, all that shit. I'm sure you've heard it before.
I'm completely in agreement with you on that. That's the point of my call, is saying that.
Well, before we get there, who'd you vote for in 2020? Who'd you vote for in 2020?
I voted for Trump.
And then now?
I voted for Trump again.
And I assume you acknowledge that the values and political future that Trump has in mind are not the one that Bernie has. They don't. Their Venn diagram does not have that much overlap. So why did you vote based on values, or did you vote based on different?
I voted based on the idea that this country fundamentally needs to change, and that more of the same, like a Biden, like any of these other career politicians, aren't going to be the ones that do that. Donald Trump will do that.
Oh, I know. So we'll definitely get to there. But I think Bernie would have given us a change. So I'm curious, Stephen, would you agree with the following statement? Any change is better than no change in America.
Absolutely.
I could not disagree with you more, because I think we are getting change. I just think that we are headed now. I think you were on the right path with Bernie, where we were heading on a path toward a more leftist country, toward more equality, better healthcare. I think that in 2016, the direct change that we were going toward was great. So I would say that heading left, good. Heading right, heading toward authoritarian fascism, which is what I believe we are headed toward under Trump, even if he doesn't accomplish it in his term, we are closer than before. If you would say he hasn't already to some degree accomplished it, that is the wrong direction. And actually, status quo Democrats would have been better, unless you're about to come and make some sort of accelerationist argument, in which case it's just going to end with you can't prove accelerationism has ever worked. And even the things you could try and point to has never actually taken hold. The Nazis are literally rising back up in Germany now too. So anyway, go ahead and make your best case then for that the change under Donald Trump is good for America.
So it's, in my mind, it's a question of honesty. When you look at Trump's policies, they're blatantly self-serving. He is very clearly serving at the hands of his benefactors, adding as much value to his personal trust, making as many connections and doing as many favors as he can, and turning the presidency into a unambiguous money grab that it just, I cannot stand listening to politicians lie to me all the time and tell me that they know what's best for the American people and that they know what will bring us all the prosperity that they keep promising. But
I relate
look
to that.
at Donald Trump
How
and I
does
see
that?
somebody.
Yeah, that's Stephen.
Well, I
Let
look at
Arden
Donald
get
Trump
in
and I
here.
see
I
somebody
wanted to
who's
make the same
not
point. Hang
lying
on,
to me.
Stephen. Go ahead, Arden. That's crazy.
No, I was just gonna say I don't see how that's a case for Trump though. Like I'm with you. I hate when politicians lie. Donald Trump is self-serving. How is this a case for MAGA other than an accelerationist? This will functionally destroy America, and then we can rebuild it kind of mindset.
And Stephen, before you respond, I want to give you an example of what happened today as serving toward Arden's point. Why I wondered if this was a real call is you're in here as Stephen and your note is MAGA is going to save this country. Today at a press conference, they had their whole little setup, Donald Trump and then all of his sycophants, and they were doing the go down the line and everybody praise him thing. And Stephen Miller said, President Trump, we just want to thank you on behalf of the country because the country was going to die without you and you saved the country. And then Trump essentially acknowledged and accepted it and acknowledged that he's been saying it forever. Only I can save us. So you're kind of sitting here saying he doesn't do the only I know how to save us thing and lie like that when he very blatantly does. He used that language. Only I can fix the country. Only I can save us. And so to Arden's point, how is what you just said about wanting it, even if he's corrupt, he's honest in his corruption, how can you possibly see that as true?
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that he's completely surrounded himself by sycophants and toadies and is perfectly willing to be self-serving. I think that
lies about that. He says it for the country. That's our point, is he doesn't admit it. He lies and says it's for the country.
Well, it might not be his motivation, but the result is the same. He's turning politics into, we tried to get money out of politics. Trump is money in politics. If it makes politics in such a way that the moneyed interests are in control of everything, then democracy becomes an exercise of just an exchange of currency. I can buy my vote.
We're also headed toward the end of democracy. So no, that isn't what democracy becomes. Democracy becomes obsolete and outdated. So Stephen, it sounds to me, I guess now we'll do another true or false. True or false? You support Donald Trump as president because it will ultimately, eventually lead to everybody waking up and getting rid of the powers that be and head more toward a more equitable society.
I'd be fine with that. But
is that what your theory is? Is your theory that he's good because he's going to save the country, or that Americans will save the country because it'll make it more obvious we need to fight to save it?
My theory is that in whatever way this ends up going, me, my family, and my community will be fine. if politics becomes an
How
entirely
privileged and nice for you.
self-centered, capitalistic, well,
That's not even
America
an
is
answer
not
to
an
the question
equal
Jimmy asked
society. It won't
at
be.
all. That's not even
Right.
remotely an answer to the question Jimmy asked me. It was like, is this your theory? And you're like, my theory is that my family's going to be fine. Okay, that's not what we asked at all. Like, we're
Do you
trying
know
to
what
understand what
acceleration
is going to save the country. And Jimmy's asking, do you think the way that it's going to save the country is that ultimately the things that Donald Trump is doing are going to fundamentally destroy our democracy and that we can, like, what, then rebuild it or something?
I'm saying that it could go either of those two ways. Either people will pull their heads out of their asses and finally do the actual revolution that everybody's been talking about, or it becomes a game of politics that is entirely driven by money. In which case,
why is that the dichotomy? Why is there not a third option where people do finally hit the moment where they're like, shit, we have to take it back? And by that point, between drones and AI and robot technology, it's now actually impossible. Like in the past, there were kings and monarchies that held on for centuries because it was already hard, and the difference could be just technology. And so now when the people wake up, they find themselves in a peasant system or a feudal system, and they literally can't get out of it. Then will MAGA have saved the country?
I don't believe that's possible. This country is truly enormous. There are millions and millions of people that are in some of the most isolated parts of this country and in the world.
And
you're telling me that every
so you're
single
saying, like,
one
even
of
if
them
they somehow
is going to be
no, no, no.
oppressed by this government? That they're
Excuse me.
none of them
Excuse
can
me.
rise.
First of all, every single person is presently oppressed by this government, but the level of oppression certainly can change. You don't have access to the best healthcare in the world unless you are rich right now. And the government makes sure to hold that separation of you and the best healthcare in place. So you are presently oppressed by the government, and that's just one example. But you saying every single person is such a goalpost shift, as if this country wouldn't already have gone too far if only all the residents of New York were being kept in, let's say, an open air prison and living under essentially a monarchy system, but the rest of the country, everything was pretty much the same. If anything, it sounds like you're sitting here and going like, no, I expect those pockets to happen, but because I live out in the country or whatever the reason is, me and my family will be fine, which is some like shitty sociopathic justification. Like, wow, grow the fuck up and care about people other than you, or do not expect anyone to come to your aid when you eventually do get hit.
It's also so naive. Like, if you have a computer, a phone, if you're doing digital communications in any form, you are being surveilled and you will be targeted in some capacity. Like, if you're not familiar with Palantir, you need to wake the fuck up.
I'm familiar with Palantir. I'm familiar with Pegasus and all the other programs that they use to surveil us every day. There are lots of people out here that have made communities for themselves to protect them against exactly what you're saying.
It'll take 16 minutes to defeat your community. You're going to bring a gun to a drone fight. You're done.
Who's going to do it? Who's going to
do that? If they want your resources, if you are in any way impeding them or taking away from their ability to maintain power and riches, it will be the class, whatever group is in power right now, it would be Donald Trump. You're just sitting there and you are cosplaying this Jason Bourne thing. But here's what's more important. Do you know what accelerationism is?
I'm familiar with the concept.
Are you an accelerationist?
No. I think that the system can work just fine if the corruption is at the point where that is the system. It's not a corruption of the system. The corruption is the system. And it can work.
End stage capitalism. What's another word for end stage capitalism? Is what you're describing.
Feudalism?
What is end stage? No, that's definitely a stage of, and honestly, modern capitalism and feudalism, we just talked about this the other day, have way more in common than people give it up to. What is the end stage? What tends to be the end stage of capitalism? It's a different F word.
I'm assuming you're looking for fascism.
Thank you. And how has that worked out? When you say everything's going to be great because the corruption will be present and on the front of everything. So the corruption is the feature, no longer the bug. That works everything out. All right, well, point to me the place because we've tried corruption being the feature and not the bug. Where's that working out right now?
I think the failing there was nationalism. I don't think the failing was the corruption and the capitalism.
Okay, well, Donald Trump is definitely operating on a nationalist framework. So how can you take the problem there is nationalism? So I voted for the fucking nationalist.
You need the infrastructure of this ultra-capitalist economy to then participate in a global economy. We were being taken advantage of by every foreign nation that we traded with. Donald Trump fixed that, so now we've got a firm footing. Now we can re-enter the global economy.
Jesus fucking Christ. We've re-entered the economy way worse than before, fixed by doing a tariff system by which our previous trade allies, including the ones who were just allies, we were not in a combative relationship. While, yes, they try to serve their own interests, we weren't in some sort of economic war with them, are now bypassing their partnerships with America and making deals with other countries because they'd rather go with a more corrupt country than us, but one that at least is stable and predictable than America that can just basically see the wrong tweet that references Justin Trudeau having sex with Melania. And now we're going to have to go ahead and add another 25% steel tariff on anything coming in from Canada. You think we are economically stronger the way we have re-entered the world's my goodness sakes. You don't even know you're an accelerationist.
I think we're on the right path. Just take, for example, what he's doing in Venezuela right now. Venezuela is one of the most oil-rich countries on the face of this planet. And Donald Trump's going in there, and he's going to get those resources for the United States.
Imagine in 2025 still thinking that invading another country and taking their oil is still the future of energy we should be working on. That should be, literally, we could invest less money, produce all the power we need to locally. But he's like, you know what I like? I like the idea that a country which you can walk to from America, which you could you could get a vehicle. Sure, you're going to have to use a Jeep to flatten some roads in some jungles. We might be at war with them when we ultimately take their oil resources. I'm really digging that. But don't worry, he's probably going to do some deals on the side where they handle our prisoners in our concentration camps. But that doesn't bother me because me and my family will be fine.
Better hope your rural hospitals don't close.
Oh, Steven doesn't plan to ever get sick.
I don't know if I don't plan on ever getting sick, but Steven, I'm a pretty healthy guy.
Your political positions are a joke. I honestly would rather have an honest MAGA caller at this point because you're basically just...
I'm not this guy's serious at all.
I feel like you're doing what I do at night. When I can't fall asleep, I imagine what I would do if I woke up in my past self and I just make up a new version of history for fun of like what happens, how I stopped the election, how I stopped the Boston bombing, how I bang people I didn't have the opportunity to. But Steven, this is like even more masturbatory than that action. It's so masturbatory that I imagine when you have sex, you close your eyes and imagine yourself jerking off.
The lovely image, but hang on a second.
For you, I know it is.
You're saying that isn't what Donald Trump is doing. In your world, that is not his strategy.
You think Donald Trump's strategy is toward a more... You think Donald Trump's strategy is toward a more stable world with better economics for America when you already acknowledged he's self-serving? Unless you can make the case that him being self-serving means making America better, then you might have an argument. But we already know strategically he has been empowering other countries and making himself rich through this crypto scam by which our enemies have been pumping money into him to get favors. Like literally answer to me how his crypto scam makes America stronger. Go ahead.
You bringing up the crypto scam, as you call it.
Which has more than doubled his net worth since he took office.
Why are those countries enemies? What makes them the enemies of the United States?
How is Saudi Arabia an enemy? I don't know. Maybe when they murder our journalists, that makes them not great. Maybe when they support organizations which are hostile to America. Maybe when they pay for radical Islamic groups to help empower parts of the Middle East that we don't want to help empower Iran. Are you joking? How about China? Do you think China is our ally or our enemy economically?
I agree that those are problems.
Oh, okay.
How would you solve that if not this? If not using
after you answer my question of how does Donald Trump's crypto scam strengthen America's economic standing?
Because there is a cultural taboo around dealing with these countries that are seen as America's enemies. Making deals with them, supporting
Excuse me,
them,
that's not Trump. I said Trump's crypto scam, not something you think is going on where there's big deals happening. We're talking about at the level of favors and passing things. Again, you pump all this money into this, so it makes the value of my stuff go up. My personal value goes up, and now you get some kind of favor from me. It's not we're not getting great trade deals. We're not signing new international treaties. He's getting richer and they're getting richer. Not yet, he says. How come Donald Trump claims to have ended 10 wars and there are 0 treaties in those 10 ended wars?
But before we move on to wars, can I stay on the economic stability? I want to know how Donald Trump taking $240 million from the taxpayers as restitution for his, the abuse of the justice system against him, how is that helping Americans stay economically stable?
I mean, the judicial system needs to be reformed. And you're not going to do that by just wagging your finger at them. You got to make it hurt.
Stephen,
how was that a response to what I said?
Stephen, on the ideal peanut butter and jelly
how is
sandwich,
that benefiting?
What flavor jelly is the best jelly? Stephen, what flavor jelly is the best jelly on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
I'd argue strawberry.
Great. I just wanted to get one direct answer from you, an actual answer to an actual question that was asked of you.
Guys.
Oh, don't fucking lie to me, you po. We all know you're a fucking fraud.
All right. Goodbye, Steven. That is more than enough. I've had more than enough of that. Oh shit, I need to fucking pay our bill. We only have $15 left on Collins Studio. Hey, flood us with money for the bills. Go on, people. Give us that cash.
How does it make it stable? The justice system has to be reformed. That has nothing to do with the economy. Literally nothing. Nothing at all.
Right.
Even if you were right, has nothing to do with the economy or its stability.
Him taking hundreds of millions of dollars for what? Why? And literally doing it when he has it's one of those things where if he succeeds, he'll be able to be like, see, the Justice Department agrees with me. After I stacked it full of sycophants. Vindication. It's like, how are you this stupid?
He oversees, and who's like two top appointees are people who are completely loyal to him in every way, shape, and form.
Right. Like, remember what Pam Bondi, when asked directly, have you seen pictures of him with young topless girls? You know what I have seen? Your donation to... Yeah, I'm not going to answer that question directly. Are you kidding? It would be the easiest thing to answer directly and not now have this like question of like, oh, fucking shit. Bro, she's seen he was all up on the girls? How do you not answer that one directly? How is that not an obvious... lie if you're gonna lie? But Jesus Christ, how do you not? You just look like an absolute fucking monster at this point. I don't know how to deal with
that's why I don't believe. I don't think he could be a Bernie or Buster, because some of those definitely went MAGA, but completely delusional. Like I don't believe for a second that he actually thinks MAGA is going to save America. I think he just came in knowing that he can just do all the same like reverse tactics that MAGA does. And
MAGA's coming for America. All right, let's talk to Mike in California, an independent Trump voter. Democrats failed to implement an effective immigrant policy is the note we have. Mike in California, you're on the line with Arden and Jimmy. And I got to tell you, if that's your point, I wonder if you can predict what my counterpoint's going to be. Mike, you there?
So it could be Yes, I'm here. Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
So, Mike, if your point is that Democrats failed to implement an effective immigration policy, what do you reckon my response to that's going to be?
Opposition.
No, of course I don't. Well, actually, no, I don't disagree with the statement. They didn't implement an effective immigration policy. I don't disagree with that statement on its surface. It's funny because I'm going to be able to easily explain to you why that happened, even though I don't support the solution that they had before. So you tell me, what did Democrats attempt to do regarding immigration, and why did it not happen?
I think it was opposition against the American people because of the fact that they expedited the process. For example, Biden had an app that can easily have them come from Mexico to California, Arizona, and other states that granted them some form of citizenship to be in the U.S., as well as undocumented migrants.
Did you say Biden had an app that gave people... Wait. What did you say? Biden had a what?
It was an app that expedited the process for them to gain U.S. citizenship. Not an entirely as full citizenship, but at least to land on American soil. That it would take months.
Man, I wish I believed you. I'm going to have to look up this app. What was the name of this app?
Please do. It was on news during the first 100 days of Donald Trump.
Right. What was the name of the app? What was the name? Okay. What was the name of the app?
I guarantee if you go through ChatGPT, you can find it.
Oh, ChatGPT. If I go to ChatGPT, I'll find it.
Like APP,
by the way,
application on a phone?
Excuse me?
You're saying an app?
Yeah,
like
APP,
like an application on a phone.
Yeah.
It was an application on the phone that expedited their process as far as enabled them to be later on a U.S. citizen. Not overnight, of course.
I hope you're telling the truth, because if I find this, I will finally find something. I don't doubt you found something and you believe that's what happened. I will finally be like, oh shit, did Biden do something good for once? Did Biden actually pull off something on immigration? Because I would 100%, Mike, support any system, because Mike, and maybe you don't know this, even Republicans and Democrats identified that for people who should be here, that they agree should be here, the process by which you get a visa, the process by which you immigrate, and the process by which you become a citizen has way too many barriers and goes way too slow. So if Biden literally had an app, which it clearly never made it anywhere.
I got a response. This app was a scheduling app that allowed immigrants to schedule appointments at southern border land ports of entry for asylum processing. It in no way did any sort of expedited immigration process.
Yeah, I found it too. CBP1. So Biden was an evil immigrant enabler because he was going to have an app that allowed you to schedule your appointments. Oh, it's time. What other choice do we have in response other than modern day Hitler, Mike? I'm with you now.
So now you're referring to Biden as a modern day Hitler?
No, Trump. No, Trump. I shouldn't have said that because I knew you were. As soon as I said it, I was like, now he's gonna just focus on the Hitler thing and not actually respond to the point. No, I was calling Trump modern day Hitler. Absolutely. Biden is a genocidal maniac.
Now you're comparing a mass murderer that killed innocent Jewish people.
Yes. Yeah,
the one
correct.
that just sent out an app.
Yes. By the way, if that's the only standard, Biden also pretty Hitlery.
Did he murder hundreds of thousands of innocent Americans?
Yes. Americans? No. But definitely people. Hey, Mike, you know that you don't have to be American to be an innocent human, right?
Correct.
Cool. Well, both of them committed genocide in Gaza.
On American
both of them committed. I'm going to finish. I don't care what it does to you. I'm going to finish my point.
Show up.
All right. So here's how this works. When you try to talk over me, I just mute you because I got the power and you don't, Mike. So Mike, they are both genocidal fucking maniacs. Donald Trump and Joe Biden both committed genocide in Gaza. And Donald Trump also oversaw other genocide and genocide adjacent things. For example, the Yemenis genocide in his first term. Donald Trump is right now presently killing people in the South American Ocean, I think it's on the Pacific side, I can't remember exactly, who even if his charges for why he's killing them, even if it's true, the crimes they are committing is not a crime we give the death penalty for. Otherwise, all CEOs of pharmaceutical industries would also get missiled by drones. So yes, Mike, they are genocidal maniacs, and I would put Biden and Trump in the same prison. You know who I'd sit right next to them? Motherfucking Obama. What you gonna do now? This might interrupt your script. Here we go. We're going with the unmute, Mike. Let's see how you recover.
Well, I identify as independent, so it's really not Republican nor Democrat.
Great, but you're a Trump voter, so I don't care. You voted for a white supremacist, nationalist, Christian nationalist group of people. I give a fuck. This is who you are.
Doesn't he have an FBI director that's a person of color?
Oh my God! Did you guys know that white supremacy is when you don't know anyone, Brown? Fucking get the fuck out of here, Mike! Are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding?
America's one of the greatest countries in the world. There's no racism
unrelated
that exists in this country.
Even if America is the greatest country of the world, it doesn't mean we don't address injustices. And one of the greatest things that the greatest country in the world can do is reject fascism. And right now, we aren't. So it kind of undermines our greatest country in the world position at the moment.
No, I think that someone like Putin in Russia, if you disagree, you end up dead. Are the president of the Philippines and other third world countries? I agree with you in that regard. But you still have freedom of speech because of people saying all this crazy stuff and still remain free.
Do they have to end up dead, Mike, or can it be something less severe too? Like if you are, say, a legal green card holder and you're here for education, you've committed no crimes, but you maybe make a tweet about how you don't like Charlie Kirk, and then you get kicked out of the country. Would that also be like an example of some sort of authoritarian overreach?
I think that people have the freedom of speech, again, as a U.S. citizen. And again, I don't agree with people saying about Charlie Kirk.
So it's a human right if it's
I mean, he has a family and kids, and show some respect of a human being.
Fuck his family and fuck his kids. I give a shit. I'm not going to show fucking respect. You can't force me to show respect. I don't feel respect for them. I hope his kids grow up to be better, but I worry they're going to grow up to be monsters. I don't fucking know them. I don't fucking give a shit about his kids. And I'm not saying he should have been killed. This is not a condoning of it, but you're not going to force me to show sympathy for someone I have no fucking attachment to.
He's been subjected to.
Who here said he deserved it?
He has a wife and a widowed wife.
Who said he deserved it? And fuck his wife. She's a fucking monster.
I never said he deserved it whatsoever. He's a human being. Who said she deserved it?
Why are you saying he didn't deserve
it? He didn't deserve it. And we're asking who fucking asked.
You are saying he didn't deserve it. Why are you making that point? No one here said he deserved it.
He did not deserve to be killed.
Who fucking said he did, you fucking idiot, Mike? Listen to the question. No one said he deserved it. So why are you bringing up that he did?
Points. I'd appreciate it if you'd actually try to use that smooth, round brain of yours.
Yeah, you are.
Try to find the wrinkle. Try to find the wrinkle in there.
Okay, interesting. Okay, because I couldn't hear what the screaming that you guys were saying earlier. Can you please clarify that, sir?
Yeah, we were saying you were going on this long, extended rant about how Charlie Kirk didn't deserve it, and we're saying who said he did.
Well, some people online and other news media outlets is saying that, unfortunately.
Are they here?
I think it's the left-wing.
Do those people deserve to be kicked out of the country or imprisoned or anything like that if they had said that? Or do people in America have freedom?
If you're not a U.S. citizen and you're saying vile stuff about the man, which is not justified. Why
you gotta love when conservatives show, but he's not a conservative; he's an independent. Freedom of speech is important for if everyone doesn't have it, no one has it. And y'all are sitting here after whining for years. Oh, we're getting social consequences and getting canceled, and this has gone too far. What about our freedom of speech? What about our freedom of speech? So I guess it's going to be okay with you if Democrats end up getting power, if they start revoking, because Donald Trump's been talking about potentially revoking citizenship. So maybe they go ahead and they revoke Elon Musk's citizenship and deport him back to South Africa, especially since if you actually look back, the same people you guys are saying are illegal immigrants should be kicked out of the country and not allowed to live here. He also was an illegal immigrant. He also overstayed his visa. So, Mike, at that point, it'll be fine when the Democrats do it too, right? You're consistent. Elon Musk will be allowed to be deported for having views contrary to the administration's.
If you get conflict with the president, the commander in chief, because other countries in the third world, you can have a minor disagreement. Case in point, look what.
So your answer is yes. You will be okay if Gavin Newsom. You will be okay if Gavin Newsom revokes, if he becomes president and he revokes and deports Elon Musk. It revokes his citizenship and deports Elon Musk. You'll say that's all fair game. If you wanted it, you shouldn't have criticized the president.
I don't want to go to the extreme point to that, but you have to be careful on what you're saying.
So you don't want to engage the actual question and the conclusion of what you propose.
You just want to spew stupid shit out onto the field and hope nobody looks closely at it.
Yeah, it is.
And who said Gavin Newsom is going to be president? When does a Hollywood actor become president?
Hey, Mike. I said if,
yes,
but
sir.
Guess what? I've successfully predicted the last several elections. Gavin Newsom, if the election's held today, is most likely going to be the next president. Deal with it. I don't like it either. I'm not a fucking Gavin Newsom stan.
I hope to God not, though.
You hope to God not. He will at least be much better than Trump ever was. He will be much better than Trump ever was. He will be much better than Trump. Now he's talking about the Kardashians. Mike, you're talking about the Kardashians.
The President Jenner? What, Jenner Kardashian
Mike,
now or something?
Mike, first of all, if you're talking about Caitlyn Jenner, Caitlyn is a Trump fan, not a Newsom fan. So that's weird since she worked for Trump. Hey, so Mike, now going back all the way to the beginning, name the policy, the immigration policy that Biden tried to implement and what happened to it.
It got conflict with the House and Senate as far as passing, I believe.
And why did that happen?
I don't know. You sure to tell me about it.
Oh, Mike, I'm going to tell you all about it. You want to sit here and say that Democrats failed to implement, and in fact, I'm going to mute you because you can't help yourself while I explain this to you because you need things explained to you, possibly slowly. Donald Trump is why the immigration policy, which was considered more conservative than any Republican had ever successfully passed, he blocked it and told the House not to take it up, despite the fact that the bill was co-wrote by one of the most harsh immigration conservatives in the House. It was literally written by the right, an independent and a Democrat. It was further to the right than any bill he has subsequently passed, and it was further to the right than any Republican had been successfully able to pass before. Mike Johnson goes down to Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump says, if you pass this bill, I can't run on immigration. Don't pass the bill. Don't solve it so that this gets to stay our issue. And then the House, which was on pace to pass it, suddenly they're not going to pass it. Now, listen, Mike, the good news is here, it was a fascist fucking bill. I'm actually glad it didn't pass. But that is still, when you're saying this is why you didn't do it, literally the more conservative immigration policies you wanted would have actually been codified into law under Biden were it not for Donald Trump's obstruction and telling the Republicans to stop them from doing it. Interesting that you're not mentioning, though, that border crossings under Biden when he left were still low. They were not as low as they were during COVID because border crossings everywhere went under COVID, but the actual averages of Trump's presidency outside of COVID, literally under that. So when you say they failed, only if you have this view that immigration is bad for America, should that necessarily be a negative, because that fucking bill, had it passed, would have been horrible. But clearly the policies you wanted were going to go into effect under Biden, and it was Trump who stopped them. Now you have been educated because you don't know a fucking thing about immigration policy. You just say a thing about an app that turns out to be a scheduling app, which you have yet to acknowledge that you didn't know what you were talking about and apologize for bringing that up as a negative.
The thing
but we'll
is,
see if
Mike
go ahead,
probably
Arden.
knew all of that about that border bill. I guarantee it, but he's going to feign like he didn't because the Republicans and MAGA voters love to fucking lie and pretend to have real people thoughts and emotions, but all they know how to do is compulsively lie about their situations.
Yeah, no shit. All right, we'll unmute Mike and see if he's capable of being honest.
No, since I'm saying something and then I get cut off from another guy, it's like a 1-2 combo that you say and then reinforce your perspective view for another guy.
Okay.
Did you know about that Donald Trump called the other people in the House to stop that bill? Had you already heard that?
Yeah, I heard some stuff. I seen Fox.
So why do you blame Biden and not Trump?
Because of the fact that it climbed actually an immigration increase as far as people crossing the border under the Biden administration.
Early in his administration, after
and filmed, sir.
You are once again just repeating Fox News points. The early immigration climbs happened because of a surge after the countries reopened and COVID went dead, right? It would have happened under any president. Yes, the Biden administration was not as fascist with their immigration crossing.
Because under the Biden administration,
again, you are not going to get to fucking talk over me. You don't have that power. The next time you consider it, just think about eating my ass instead. It's ass flavored. The Biden border crossings then got back down to under what they were at during the Trump's time outside of COVID. So you don't get to sit here and be like, I'm going to pretend COVID didn't exist. I'm going to pretend COVID wasn't responsible for inflation, because the only thing you can actually blame Biden for when it comes to inflation is the fact that we had a lower inflation than the rest of the developed countries because his BBB program actually did reduce inflation. But by the way, that was after having to fight a double dip of the thing that we all know always causes inflation, and that is dramatic tax cuts, especially angled at the rich. So the inflation that we had was hitting us from two places, one from an old Trump policy and COVID. Then when it came to immigration, Donald Trump is the one who stopped you from getting the immigration policies you want. And you haven't even proven, first of all, we've jumped way past, is immigration bad for America? And right now, all of the numbers point to, no, it's actually great for America and America relies on it. So we'll try again. I very much recommend you stop this trying to talk over me when I am midpoint shit, Mike. It's not my fault you can't stay on substance and stay on track and therefore need interrupting. But you don't get to do it back to me. This is not a democracy. You don't get an equal voice on this channel. Unless you engage honestly.
But how would you explain some of them they had as far as overseas from undocumented immigrants, if they were dropping them off in New York, in Florida, and some of these prisons they open up and get their worst to come to the U.S. I mean, they had one in New Jersey where they're going to house like 1,500 migrants next to elementary school where someone were rapists and child molesters.
Jesus Christ. I think you're trying to combine like 6 Fox News segments all into the same one, and none of it is an actual response to what I said.
Saying, sir,
none of it is you responding to the, what did I just say about trying to talk over me?
Jail, sir.
What did I just say about trying to talk over me? Did I say it works or did I say it doesn't work? Just be honest and engage the actual points made to you instead of just now, I'm going to try and scattershot and go, what about the immigrants who are rapists? You mean at a much lower rate than American-born citizens? Than American citizens, rather? Than the documented people who are legally here? You mean at those people? Yes, amongst immigrants are going to be a few evil people. And amongst men is going to be an unfortunately not few enough number of people who commit sexual assault, of people who commit rape, of people who commit murder. And yet you don't see us deporting all men because of the violent tendencies of a large group of men. And so you sitting here and going like, I'm going to go and I'm going to pink. Oh, let me guess. You're going to say Lincoln Riley. Great. That's one name against how many names do you have to go through of things, of crimes committed by citizens, murders committed by citizens before you match it? What's that, Arden?
I said, yeah, it's either going to be Lincoln Riley or it's going to be TDS.
All right, let's find out, Mike. The problem is the trans people, right?
No, the problem is a number of variable of things that exist. It's not a perfect place.
What's
in
one
America,
problem that Donald
but
Trump
why
is
are so
solving?
many
You've already
people
failed
trying
on
to risk their
immigration,
lives?
so let's leave immigration.
Why
What's a problem
can I
Donald
speak?
Trump is
I'm not able to speak, sir. I'm not
Yeah, I
expressing
know,
my
because you're
viewpoint. I
so
mean, you're
bad at it.
talking
You're
over
definitely
me.
right. You're definitely right. Hey, Mike, now you are going to get to speak when you answer this question. You've already failed on immigration. Give me a problem unrelated to immigration that Donald Trump is solving.
Unrelated. Okay, let me repeat that. Unrelated to immigration that Donald Trump is solving that you asked
Yeah.
me, sir, right?
Correct.
I think one point is that he's improved the immigration policy. I know we can disagree with that.
I'm sorry. You just repeated to me, unrelated from immigration, you would like
just
a
want to
point
give you
of
that
something
point
that he
over
is
there
solving.
before I proceed,
And then
sir.
you
I want to
repeated
acknowledge that
immigration
that's their path.
policy. How can you
I'm
not
being yelled at and
follow
berated.
the most basic instructions? We have already figured out that you have nothing of value to offer on immigration. You didn't even know what the first point you made was
Thank goodness,
on the app. So now, Mike, let's leave immigration because you've embarrassed yourself so badly. What is a non-immigration point, topic, category, a place in what is a problem that is not immigration that you think Donald Trump has either solved or is improving?
I think he's improving as far as more American companies in America, and God bless America, I might add. As far as trying to outsource the work and manufacturing jobs outside the country and keep them in the country, that he has viewed and voiced his points on that prior presidents has failed to do. Because I think it should be America first. Because most of these countries and then
there's more jobs and more companies in the U.S.
The crime rate that exists. The crime rate that exists.
Oh, wait. Which one do you want to do? Chicago. Crime rate? Do you want to do crime rate or do you want to do businesses in America?
Crime.
Okay, great. Go to crime.
Some of these war-torn countries, these cities such as Chicago.
There are no, right, and there aren't war-torn cities. What does it mean to be war-torn? Define it.
I mean, some of these high.
What is the definition of a war-torn city?
Chicago, sir.
What is the definition of war-torn?
I didn't say war-torn. Clarification.
Yes, you did.
Crime rate.
You literally did say war.
That would be epitome in Chicago.
You said war-torn cities.
Okay,
what is the definition of war-torn?
Crime rate in
Excuse me, sir. That's called precision. We actually care about what words you fucking used. I know you maggots just left to vomit forth drivel, but we actually care about precision and the meaning of the words that are being used.
I'm hitting a conflict here, people, and I understand I'm going to get lots of comments of like, let the poor man speak. I can probably hear him more than you can because he's directly in my headphones, so I even know what he's saying when I'm talking. I'm very conflicted here because on the one hand, people arguably, if there's an opportunity to change a person's mind, that would be a priority of ours. Generally, we want to arm people with better information, better tactics, and being able to, I would say this type of call serves as the like, hey guys, when people say this, your bullshit detector needs to go off, right? Let's model how to turn on your bullshit detector. But one would argue that we should try and attempt to have a conversation in a way that at least has the potential to change a person's mind. And if you don't think that the potential even exists and the other values have already been expired, which they seem to be, do you continue the call? Because here's the thing. Do I want to change Mike's mind? Because if Mike is on our side, is this how he will represent our side? Or is Mike more valuable as a positive representative of MAGA? Because one of the things that I think the Democrats did that lost them the election was lie. Was basically not just lie, but like be kind of like shifty about these real significant problems. So it's kind of like, oh, economically, you're doing fine because look at the stock market. Joe Biden saved the stock market, so you must be doing fine. And people are going, wow, it really feels like I can't afford my groceries anymore. But you're telling me inflation is, stop worrying about it because inflation's lower than other countries, which is an important number to bring up, but not as a rebuttal to Americans are hurting. Okay, that doesn't help because it doesn't acknowledge their pain. I got a little off topic there. What I'm kind of getting at is, do you let somebody come to your side that's going to do that tactic on your side? Do I try to make Mike a socialist, an atheist, humanist socialist, when clearly he will pick the label he wants? What?
Humanist made me laugh.
Oh, an atheist, socialist, humanist. I don't know why.
Because these people, I'm sorry, I don't believe anything these people say. Especially when they come into, this makes me think of before the election, where clearly everyone who was calling themselves independent, but clearly espousing purely MAGA talking points, felt like they were paid off by, like, I don't know, some foreign country with a vested interest in MAGA being in power here in the US. And
I know what it was. It was they wanted to still get laid on Tinder.
Israel right now behind a computer, for all I know.
That's true. Mike, I suspect, wants the ability to still fuck liberal girls, and so he's an independent. That's what I think.
Right. Where you, yeah. You're probably, that's probably more accurate. That's fair.
Do I want Mike on our side if he's basically like, it wouldn't even be convincing him with the facts, just convincing him that he wants our label, because Mike figures out his label and worries about the facts later. Okay, that's Mike. And so even if he was on our side, he wouldn't be well informed on our side. He'd be over just saying whatever. He'd have heard a talking point. He'd be sitting there and just be like, he would just say just dumb. He'd repeat dumb statistics that ended up on a news story, wouldn't know how to back them up. And so I don't know, chat, like, Mike, you stay on the line if you like. You hold there. I'm going to let chat decide, because I'm sitting here going, do I continue with Mike when I think Mike is not even a person I want as an ally if I could change his mind? So I'm just going to poll chat, continue with Mike, yes or no. And as we do that, if you are at least an honest representative of MAGA, you're not afraid to actually admit that you're MAGA, I'm already going to like you more than Mike. I'm willing to have an honest conversation with a MAGA person. We do it on here all the time. But when a person comes on, they won't answer a question directly. They just yell buzzwords. It's like talking to Newsmax, the guy. But, you know, I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. I don't know. I don't know what the value is. I don't know why I would keep on.
I don't figure that value. I really want to. I feel like my better nature humanist element really wants to see the humanity in these people. And obviously I see humanity in them. I still want to give even the worst MAGA healthcare, education, housing, food, all that. But my time, my sanity, fuck no. These people do not deserve it. I actually care about people who are going to exchange ideas. This is good for clipping. It's good for farming. But not good for,
I don't know. No, I think I was even thinking about that while we were talking. I was like, if I was watching this clip, I'd leave early. I'd be like, what the fuck's the point of finishing this? I know how the rest of the call is going to go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody would finish this call. All right. It's pretty unanimous. Mike, I'm going to let you say your last words because they're saying drop, and I'm not going to be totally unfair, but I got to tell you, Mike, I don't think Charlie Kirk, who didn't deserve it, I don't think Charlie Kirk would want you representing MAGA or pro vote for Trump or anything. I think he'd be like, okay, you're bad at lying. And you make it obvious, and you kind of sound like you're smiling when you're not trying to engage honestly, and you're committing fallacy after fallacy. So you got 30 seconds to make your last point, and then we're just moving the fuck on.
I think some of the viewpoints that you say, if you're not acknowledging what I have to say in full context. I mean, I mentioned the other one, the homicide rate in Chicago. That
more lies.
Phenomenally high. Hello?
You're going to give you time, but you're just lying. So I'm not sure why I should be respectful to you and give you time if you're just going to immediately lie.
How am I lying, sir? How am I lying?
Not
Can
sir.
you please point that out to me?
Are you please now apologize to Arden? Arden is a woman. You've called Arden sir.
He did it earlier too, but I let it go.
I'm trying to respect your. I'm trying to respect your pronouns.
Sir is not a pronoun.
My entire ass, you fucking lie.
Mike, apologize. Mike, apologize. Mike, apologize.
Let me have some good viewpoints. I respect.
No. Your next words need to be "I'm sorry" or "You're out." Apologize, Mike.
I'm sorry to disrespect your pronouns.
It wasn't a pronoun. Sir is not a pronoun. Anyway, I'm still dropping you anyway, even though I
He's
said
doing
you
it
did.
like you can hear him smiling while he's talking right now. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like useless sack of waste of space.
My ass tastes like ass. You'll notice that when you eat it. All right. We're gonna take this call quickly, and then we've got another call. We'll see what they're calling in about here in a moment. Let me pull up the shortcut system. So, because I think our wonderful screener is distracted by screening and therefore won't be able to. Whoops, wrong one. Not what I wanted to hit. We're going to go to that. No, this one. And all right, let's go ahead and talk to, I want to say it is Anila in Romania. Anila, how are you?
Hi. Pretty okay, actually. Thank you for asking. I'm talking with Arden and Jimmy, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Awesome. Big fan. Been watching your streams and live with my friends for a while now. Lovely
Well,
stuff.
no one's perfect.
Sweet.
Okay. Well, I have a slightly different question, especially after the last call. I wanted to ask, do you think, or can we agree that religion has been used throughout history as a tool of control?
Yes.
Okay.
In many
So
cases,
if that is the case, do you think it is morally correct for a government or a nation to take control of religion? Because I think, at least at the moment, that much of religion is focused on political gain and power and social movement. And I think because it's very independent, it tends to be used with ill intent. And this has been throughout history. But if taken by a government that is, say, made by academics, of course, this is hypothetical, it can be used for good. Like, people don't spend time learning about politics and learning about policies, but they do spend time listening to religious people who tend to not have an education other than studying a book.
Yeah, I got it. Anila, what's the definition of a religion?
A fantasy that people believe in, or a group of people that believe in.
So it's a system of worship, usually directed toward a deity, a sort of god, and it's how you interact and worship with that god. So if the question is, could the government take control of it and turn it into a positive? You're asking, could the government use an authoritarian power to convict people of thought crimes for incorrectly administering a system of worship toward a deity other than the one that they approve of, but the one they approve of will also not be true? No. There's no good way to do that.
I did not think of it that way.
Yep. That's why you called us.
Yeah, I wanted to get the thoughts of like-minded people of it, and sure. I just didn't see it that way.
There is no good way to have authoritarian thought crime laws.
Gotcha. Is there a way in which such a system or such an idea can be pushed without it being authoritarian, though?
A state religion? I have no desire for the state religion of capitalism to continue going unchecked because it's built on lies. So I don't.
Oh, fuck no.
I think we have proven and modeled you don't have to lie to people to control them. Not even control, to encourage them, to compel them to do better things. People can be good people with only the truth available to them. So I don't think you resort to lying.
Yeah, I do think that people can be good with the truth being granted to them. And I think that has certainly been made obvious in recent history with education being much more prevalent. The problem is that often people who lie or who want their own gain are or tend to be more charming than people who want to spread truth.
And so once you establish your authoritarian nature to your government, by which, or whatever nature you're thinking you're going to have to compel people to go with a religion that actually works toward the benefit of the people, those powerful, charismatic people will eventually get the head of that government and switch it to the authoritarian type. If you're going to build it on lies and worship and faith, someone will take advantage of it. Just look at the way religion works right now. If you believe in God and you do something on the internet that shows you believe in God, you are now in a different corner of a marketing algorithm because all the other bullshit scams know you are now more susceptible to their bullshit. They're going to try and hawk essential oils and alternative medicine shit at you because you've already proven that you are gullible in this faith-filled kind of way. So if that's already what happens naturally amongst the people who are believers, once you establish some system like that to try and push it toward good, somebody is going to come along and use their populism or whatever else to take control of those levers. And so in the interest of like short term, we'll do this in a non-authoritarian way, but built on this lie, people will be good toward each other. You will slip so fast into fascism, it'll make your head spin.
Bashed.
Okay,
I think
then
Anila, to kind of let me jump in here for a second. I think like a lot of people who are coming at this sort of similar question to what you're bringing, and I agree with everything Jimmy has said. I feel like what you, and if I'm wrong, tell me. But usually, the impression I get is that what you're looking for is like our religious people who exist today, like. It feels like an are they inherently bad kind of thing, or like can they be reformed kind of thing, and like if that is your intention, because I have had a lot of these conversations from this perspective, kind of angling that way, then let's talk about that, because what you're bringing is like this hypothetical scenario, and it's just not like, I'm completely with Jimmy on it. I don't think there's any way to structure a religion in that way that's not going to lead to what we're talking about here. So.
What I'm mostly, when I'm addressing religious people or religious ideas, the problem that I'm mostly smacking my head against is everyone can do what a religious person can't, but it takes religion to make a good person do a bad deed. So then my question is, how do we tackle that to minimize a good person doing a bad deed?
Oh, wait. The rest of the quote kind of undermines it, right? Without religion, good people do good and bad people do bad. But with religion, good people do bad is the summary of it. So then the without religion would be the thing you work toward, not what if we just change it to with religion, good people do good. Because foundationally, you are saying faith is still an acceptable means to get to truth. So if faith is okay when you like the outcome, how do you tell somebody faith is okay when you dislike the outcome? Because you can't do it based on it causes harm. Lots of harmful things are true.
Okay. Let's back up a little, and I should ask this. At least in my country, when there is a scandal within the church, the scandal is addressed through internal investigations. Would it be good, or would it be a better solution to have external investigation from actual authorities? Would regulating certain ideas or tendencies in such groups be a good idea, or is this authoritarian as well?
Bro,
I don't understand the point of this, Anila. Like, sure, third-party investigations of into like sexual crimes would be preferable to the religions doing it themselves. Like, what is the point? I don't understand. What?
Yeah. Anila, you seem like a great lady and stuff, and I don't want to like. I'm just sitting here going, people just give people fucking healthcare and housing and food, and that's probably what you need to do. At this point, and people have fucking absolutely dragged me for saying this before. Let's do the socialism, okay? Let's do that. Let's give people economic security, and then I don't give a fuck if in their private life they want to be a Nazi, right? If looking at pictures of the Holocaust gets them hard, it's fucked up, it's weird, but if everyone has healthcare and economic security and everybody's taken care of, and it does not leave their speech and their thoughts, it doesn't turn into physical action, which when it comes to somebody who's that level of a Nazi, it usually turns into physical action. There can be reasons for website searches to be like, let's look out for this guy. Let's find out what weapons he's buying and what's going on in the community. That kind of shit potentially is justified. But fucking Christ, I just want to give fucking, like, even right now, all of those other things that I listed, right now I'm just focused on, I will endorse any candidate who supports Medicare for all and isn't shitty to trans people. And I hate to say this in front of Arden, but I think we might have to give up the second point on a few cases. Right? It's like, just give everybody fucking
We
healthcare.
progress really, really far, politically speaking. I suspect we will get Medicare for all before we will get good trans laws, and I suspect that's not going to be anytime soon, either of those things. And I will probably vote for those people because lesser of two evils.
I think that you're right, Jimmy, in the case in which the next elections hold with Newsom against the Republican candidate. But if we get lucky and AOC or somebody in Bernie's camp is able to captivate and grab on Bernie's popularity, I think we may get both.
Make it both what? Both help Medicare for all and make thought crimes illegal?
No. We can get both free Medicare and trans rights. At least from what I've seen from Bernie and AOC and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, it seems to be going that way.
Yeah. No. I agree. The chances are, if anybody's Medicare for all, their priority probably isn't being shitty to trans people. But frankly, if after the primaries are over, if Gavin Newsom's like, look, I won, but under my administration, there's no trans people in sports, but we are doing Medicare for all, I'm going to fucking hold my breath and probably still vote even for him. Right? Like that's what's going to end up being what happens.
The problem with Newsom that I see is that he strikes me as an but he strikes me as an Obama person. He's just gonna plant the seeds for next Trump because he's gonna go for the middle ground. I want both votes.
No, I actually suspect he would govern to the left of Biden, but yes, I think that as everyone does, he will make a moderate appeal in the meantime because there's other people he wants to gather. Because there are a lot of people, Bernie is doing this right now. If you just take the message to the moderates and even the Republicans, most people turn out to have socialist sympathies. But if you're just coming at them and all they're hearing is socialism, you can't even get the door open at first. But Bernie just went to West Virginia and did all of these events with Republicans and was like, look, labels are labels. Here's what I want to give you. And they were like, well, fuck, no one told me this. There are even interviews he did with people after it, like dieters and stuff, where the people are saying like, all I heard about you is what Fox News said. I never heard you speak and I regret that now. So you have to get the message to the people. Now, Gavin Newsom is not a socialist. I'm not saying that at all. But fucking Christ, let's just give people health care. Real quick, before you go, Anila, or before you continue on, we lost our MAGA callers. I think it's because they're scared. Several of you said you would call in. So we're going to maybe take one more call today because I just can't after Mike anyway. If you're the honest MAGA person who can actually explain why MAGA policies are better or explain why something we are not for is that we're wrong in some way, you can do, all you have to do is stay on topic. If you're going to sit in and go, actually, Mike was great. If you thought Mike was doing a good job, you're probably not the guy to call in. Because I don't care whether you're on the same side as him. I care if you notice that if I asked him what his favorite peanut butter and jelly ingredient was, he started talking about the Sistine Chapel. That's how far off we were from shit. If you can stay on topic and be honest, that number's right there, and we're only going to give one of you that slot most likely. 33654-32101. This is your last opportunity. Anila, just give people fucking healthcare. Let's not worry about if we need to be like trying to establish a thought crime policy. I would be fully opposed to that. I'm a small L libertarian socialist. Provide for everybody's basic needs and then stay the fuck out of their lives. The government on a personal level should stay the fuck out of my life.
Fuck yes, I agree. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks, Anila.
Bye-bye.
Go ahead.
No, I said bye-bye because I'm going to hang up.
Oh, they said, oh, wait. Okay. Thanks, Anila.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I was like, oh no.
I have a pimple forming on my spine.
And I still feel kind of like she was going there a little bit, that we were going to talk about like people like April Joy and stuff like that, where I'm like, it was kind of like is there like a good corner to religion we can collaborate with kind of, but going through this
collaborate,
loop, because I've seen that happen a bunch on calls, and
we have to figure out your auto ducking system. If I talk, your mic gets killed, or if the caller was talking, your board is killing your audio if any other audio is playing.
Weird. Wouldn't that be on your end? Why would that be on my end? Oh,
no,
wait.
I'm saying
No.
The board's ducking program is doing it.
So I have to, because I'm on Chrome, I'm having to use vMix to pipe in through here. And I think that's what's happening is vMix is like, I've noticed this happen before. I don't know.
Deprioritize.
Log in through Firefox.
You try that. That's what I do. I use Firefox. I'm on Firefox right now for this call connection. Anyway, we'll figure it out next time. We got through it this time.
Yeah.
Send super chats now, and we will give one more MAGA caller room. They have not called in yet. MAGA, if you think, producer, if you'll just restore the title to normal, if you'll take Neela down, we'll give one more MAGA caller room unless we just don't get any more for today. But we're ready to talk to you, MAGA. If you're ready to be honest, 33654-32101, 33654-32101. You can call in, otherwise we will.
Great at being horrible. I also saw somebody being like, somebody said Mike was great at being horrible, and I saw someone earlier being like, Arden, don't let him get to you. Trust me, there's no amount of misgendering that could like hurt my feelings. It was more that was the second time he did it, and I was like, I let it go the first time in honor of the conversation, and then you went back there because you've got fucking TDS, so we're gonna jump in now.
Even on a level of like personalisms, college don't get to me in that way. I get annoyed with their tactics, but the moment the show is over, I will deflate like a balloon, as in decompress. I will it all out of my butt.
I was made way more upset and angry about his consistent lying, dodging, not answering the question. That made me upset, like in an emotional and angry sense. But it definitely had nothing to do with the gender stuff. Like,
Mike will become an inside joke. Like Arden and I in a future one, I guarantee you will have some caller will be like, is this just Mike again? Because they'll be doing the same tactic. Mike is basically now a joke.
TDS is trans derangement syndrome, Renese.
Correct. I've been stealing that shit like crazy. Did you come up with it, or was it already popular?
Not exactly. I did do the trans version of it, but I'd seen people do like Democrat derangement syndrome, insert person here derangement syndrome. I was like, nobody done trans derangement syndrome. It's like
TDS is better. All right, it looks like there's a call screening now, so we'll see if that's a MAGA caller here in a moment. In the meantime, David Haxer says, thank you, Arden. Thank you, Jimmy. Moonstar says, have a coin, beggar. Fury Form 42 says, got to keep those lights on. Devin says, for the calls. Also, what the fuck, Steven? Salami Man says, Team Snack Mom, go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Darth HPV says nothing. Darth HPV is kind of a funny name, though. David Axter says, it's cute Jimmy thinks there will be fair elections in the future. I think there will be elections in the future. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves and say fair. Right now, I am like, not in the way that I would say, okay, Democrats, go ahead and don't do it now. Obviously, they have to. But today, seeing that they're going to gerrymander Virginia in response to the Republicans, where it was like, yes, of course, we're still behind, so we have to do that. But just seeing it in the news, I still was like, fucking Christ, this is what we're doing. We are fully going to now have a gerrymander war. We went from both sides to some degree acknowledging that it's bullshit but the Republicans were doing it way more, to the Republicans now going, because the Democrats have done it, we're going to do it too, ignoring that they already do it way more, and now lying to everybody's faces and going, the only reason we're doing it is because the Democrats, they had always done it. And by the way, they had always been racist the whole time they did it. Even the ones where they were like, technically this didn't hit the bar of obvious racism, it was always racist. Just so you know, that the Supreme Court maybe couldn't have made the case, but it's like sexual assault, where it's like, here's the really hard proof to get, and if you don't get that proof, you don't get a conviction. Well, you can't get the proof, but we all know they fucked that guy.
Yeah, I mean, just because the people thinking that courts rule anyone innocent. Like, no, you just fail to prove that they're guilty. Like, you don't get ruled innocent on things like that. Yeah.
Space Barbarian says, the right's decades-long erosion of U.S. education is real. God is Sinner says, how do you deal with dumb people having your dead name and having to hear it over and over again? Well, let me answer this one. Just kidding. There are people who call me by my given name because they know I hate it.
Honestly, almost nobody knows my dead name. Matt didn't even know until like several years into our relationship. I just don't
someone
care. I don't
forced it
talk
on
about
him.
it. I don't think about it. It's so far.
Yeah.
Because I went through my detransition, retransition phase, but I kept my current name through all of that. So I've been Arden for more than half of my life. My dead name doesn't even really feel like that was less of my life, less percentage than my current name. So it's like
I'm
irrelevant.
not there with Jimmy yet. I'm getting closer, but I'm not there with Jimmy yet. But I did change my name for identity reasons, but it wasn't because I'm trans. And so even if a random stranger tried to throw that name at me, and I know people do occasionally, that would affect me not at all. It's the people who actually know me and allegedly care about me and love me and know why I've left that name that still are like, no, it's more important what I want to call you. Those are the people who it's like, fuck you in your fucking face then. And to tell you the truth, I've cut almost every single one of them out of my life. Huh?
Somebody who called in today on Takis was doing that. They had a whole thing about like what you know who I'm talking about. The work scholar.
Someone before this show said they hope that person calls in because it was a great conversation, and I wrote back, that's physically impossible.
Great conversation.
Joshua says Arden getting insulted makes chat want to riot. And Jimmy, you still work here? Someone should fire that Jimmy guy. Whoever's in charge of Jimmy Snow on the line should fire Jimmy Snow.
True.
Great. All right, here we go. Tyler in Indiana says all forms of socialism is all susceptible to. Okay, I think your notes may have gotten a little messed up. So Tyler, why don't you present it yourself?
Okay, no, it wasn't socialism is corrupted. It's all forms of potential government that we tried to implement is corruptible and susceptible to corruption.
Yes, obviously. The saying is democracy is an absolute horrible system. The only thing worse is everything else.
Yeah, so I can agree with that to a certain extent. But no, the main reason why I believe in that is because, like, I look at capitalism because I was in your talks with, what was it, Mike earlier, which was really abhorrent. But capitalism only works to a certain point, and then I think there needs to be some sort of transition to socialism or more socialistic things. I think like capitalism's good to, I think, get the infrastructure, to get the people motivated to go work, and then we need to start transitioning to more of a social thing. And I think socialism isn't necessarily bad because inherently there's going to be, I think, a point where capitalism has to acknowledge that we have to start taking care of the people because our system has grown so big that we can't support it without those social services.
So are we there yet? Because it says here you're a conservative.
No.
I assume you voted Trump.
Well, I voted Trump his very first time running, and then the second time I didn't really care for Trump the first time. It was mainly just because he was an anomaly. We didn't really know how he was going to act because he really wasn't a career politician. But then you get into a second time and you kind of see how much of derangement that people got in with the MAGA stuff.
Who did you vote for?
It was really concerning. I didn't vote for either because I didn't like either candidate, so I just didn't vote.
It's funny because you'll say things where I'm like, oh, it seems like he's kind of getting it, and yet I can't feel like a person got it if you couldn't figure out. I mean, in Indiana, I don't know how much it mattered, but clearly I think Trump was the lesser. I think I am further away from Biden than you are away from Trump. And yet I knew to vote for Biden because he was the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, and for me, if I don't like either candidate, I just don't vote. That's just a personal thing for me.
I wish it wasn't.
Being 30, I haven't had.
I wish no one felt that way because it impacts things. How old are you?
I'm 30, so I haven't had all the elections, and really most of my elections have been around with Trump running. So it's not really been a much option-wise for me, at least on a more conservative.
Did you vote Harris in 24?
No, I didn't vote at all. If I don't like the candidates, I don't vote. That's just how I've always been.
I just think that's a childish way to approach it, Tyler. I don't know how to be kind about it. I think that is like, I think that's just a shitty thing to do to people. Because I do think like Harris definitely would have been better on Gaza, but not good on Gaza. And then on every other issue, way better. And there are more people in danger, more people with rights lost. And now we're just doing crazy ass shit like war crimes against South America. Not that the war crimes we were doing before were great, but at least we had an ocean of separation before. I just don't know how you, I don't know how you sit there and go, if I don't like them, who's going to have a candidate? I guess actually, here's my question for you, Tyler. The day's going to come, maybe, where the candidate is someone you like. At that point, are you going to hope that if they're running against someone else and most of the country doesn't prefer either of them, that they still decide to vote for your candidate because your candidate is better?
Well, unfortunately, like, that would
just engage the hypothetical.
It would be one of those things. The best I can do is I can hope I get the candidate that I get, right?
Right. So Tyler, now my question is, if you get the candidate that's perfect for you, match 100%, but for most of the country, it is less than a 50% match. Will you still hope that because it's more like a 45% chance for a lot of people, but the other guy, it's only 30. Do you hope that those people who he's not perfect for, or she, but let's be real, it's America, it's going to be he. Anyway, he or she, do you hope they will still vote for your candidate because that candidate is better than the alternative? Or will you accept it just as like, well, if my candidate's not everybody cup of tea, I don't want the better country in this scenario?
In that scenario, I mean, obviously, I think I would want to be a little bit more self-serving to my interests, and I'd want people to. I think that's just, if I have to be honest, right?
So Tyler, then maybe in 2028, if you don't have a candidate you like, you still pragmatically vote. So in the future, when you're trying to make the case for your candidate, should that come up and people ask you, did you do the same thing you're asking of us? You don't have to say, no, I'm technically being a hypocrite, but I hope you'll let it go.
No, I mean, I think you have a fair point. I don't think your logic there is flawed, because you are right. But you know, and that's the thing is and maybe this is a little bit for me because it's Indiana politics, but Indiana is still very heavily Republican, at least with Trump being in office. They have been. We were I think we were the first state to have all of our numbers pulled in, and it was basically, I don't want to say a landslide victory for Trump, but I think he was like 60-70%, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, I guess Indiana? Maybe in my opinion, like, even if in Indiana, I believe it was, I would have to go back and look at the election.
My biggest problem with anybody, even in a conservative state, and people you can, with a valid enough response, you can say he would have done the same anyway. Maybe it's true. But the people who make your case, it didn't matter if I voted because my state was going to vote one way or another, have now participated in what he said, which is that because I won the popular vote, I have a mandate to do the maximum of my agenda. And that's what they repeat all over the case. Do I think that the actions would have necessarily been the same? No, but ideologically, is that going to sway certain people? And is that going to shut down certain arguments? Because right now it does look like he has a mandate from the Americans because he also won the popular vote, when in reality, everybody fucking hates him.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, if you're in live chat, sorry, real quick, Tyler. If you're in live chat and you're going to say an analogy is horrible or lesser of two evils, I don't give a fuck. If you're in live chat, you don't have a real opinion. If you want to call in and tell me I'm wrong, the lines are technically still open. And if you say I was the one in chat who said it, I'll fucking take you. But chat is not real. You could be a robot. I don't give a fuck. I'm not addressing you, Tyler. I'm addressing people in chat right now. Otherwise, anybody who only puts their position in chat, I encourage everyone to dismiss, because these people's values are not so strong that they'll even pick up the goddamn phone. Anyway, go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like I've been somebody who, especially it's like in the last, we'll say like 3 to 4 years, I've worked for a company here in the U.S. that all my work gets delegated from there. My boss is from Europe. And I've gotten to see a lot more of the social aspects and stuff come into my life. And I'm like, wow, it really isn't necessarily a bad thing for people to have a really good respect of work life and work-life balance. And, I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea to have some of these more socialist ideas of, things like healthcare. And I mean, to me, that to me should just be a basic fundamental for people.
I agree. So Tyler, do you support Medicare for all?
Yeah, actually, in the last few years, my mind's really changed personally about that, and I'd probably say yes. Sure. I would now.
Let me ask you this: if you could go back and
costing, that would outweigh what we waste on stupid Republican billionaire tax cuts, or paying out whatever stupid policy they're going to put through. It seems like a no-brainer to me.
I do love it. The billionaires don't have the money to fund Medicare for all, but don't worry, they're building our ballroom. When Donald Trump needs favors in the form of millions or billions of dollars, they got you. Tyler, do you feel with your values today, if we hadn't had this conversation, if tomorrow Trump versus Harris happened again, would you vote for Harris now? After we've seen how the Trump administration has gone, you just wake up. It's back in November. You've just seen what has happened with Trump so far. Would you still abstain voting?
I don't know. Maybe I'd probably look at more of independent candidates first, just to see what values.
No, the primaries are over. Primaries are over. We're saying you are post-primary, Harris versus Trump. A third party's not going to win. You have enough time to try and convince other people, try and influence. And at the very least, you can do something that has some value, and at least you tried, knowing what you know now.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I would change my perspective.
What's the worst policy Kamala Harris had that makes you not willing to vote for her? Is it her laugh? Don't do it. That's what that one caller said.
No, the biggest thing is when. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, want to interrupt. No, go ahead.
Okay. One of the biggest things I think for me is just when she spoke in very open manner without having, we'll say like a lot of edits or interruptions. I just don't feel like she had not necessarily like a charismatic, but like, I don't know if she really had a good.
So it is demeanor, Tyler. It's demeanor. I said, don't make it the laugh. And you basically made it the second thing to the laugh. It was demeanor. When, by the way, she destroyed Trump so hard in the debate, he wouldn't do another one. He did the whole, like, I won so hard, I don't need to do another. But it was even on Fox, they were evaluating like, maybe you shouldn't do more of these. Because looking next to her, a woman in her 50s who looks pretty good for a woman in her 50s, young, articulate, energetic. He looked like a fucking corpse. But you're going to sit here and say it has nothing to do with policy. You're not naming a policy, Tyler. That demeanor is what did it for you. That's crazy.
I also just don't really understand that, because it's like, I would vote for a shit sandwich if it was on the Democratic Party ticket, because that is the thing that has the best likelihood of defeating Trump. Like, I don't care who they put forward. It doesn't really matter at this point, besides the evaluation of their policies. Like, and what has the statistically best likelihood of defeating Trump. Like, there's no world in which a third party candidate wins. So you have to pick either Democrat or Republican. Nobody's saying it's a good thing or that we like it. We're on your side. We want Medicare for all. We don't like the Democrats. I don't like Kamala Harris. She was annoying. She sounded like a focus tested phrase generator. Like, absolutely contemptible candidate. But like, she was who we had. best likely chance of beating Trump. I don't understand. That calculation is so easy for me.
I got to tell you, Tyler, and I hate to do this, and you're not going to like to hear it. First, let me ask, are you white, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I am.
Yeah, I know. It's all good. I know that this is going to sound even a little bit bigoted and unfair, but if I hear a white 30-year-old conservative from Indiana say, I don't have a policy to name, but I didn't like her misdemeanor, or not her misdemeanor, her demeanor rather, that to me is code for asking me to vote for a black woman's an awful lot. You'd have to really nail and impress me way more than a white guy would, probably even more than a white woman would have to. You'd basically have to come out and be some kind of like autistic political Rain Man. Usually if I'm hearing, Tyler, maybe you're not, but I think you can agree, knowing other conservatives in Indiana who are white, that for a lot of them, the reason why they didn't even begin to consider was they were never going to consider a half black, half Indian woman for president.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with your particular line of criticism, but I mean, you're definitely more than allowed to speak it. But I do think that there is a large amount of people, at least within Indiana, when politics were discussed, a lot of them did not like her ability to speak. They didn't speak of like having someone who was confident at the helm. Now, granted, maybe that's because I see a lot more of...
Tyler, all you have to do to get them to reveal it is just, especially if you're a conservative they feel safe with, just be like, you didn't like her ability to speak. Go on, and keep saying go on. Because if we're talking about articulate, Donald Trump has yet to finish a sentence since 2015.
Well, yeah, I also didn't vote for him either, though. But yes,
well, except back in 16. And by the way, abstaining is voting for whoever wins, just so you know. It, in effect, is the same thing. You didn't vote against him, so I'm not impressed that you didn't vote for him. You empowered his rise to authoritarianism.
No, I mean, I agree with your statement. Like, you can definitely frame it that way, and I don't think you're logically wrong for speaking it. But I also don't necessarily think it's a good idea.
Statistically, I would be safer assuming that you, even if you aren't racist, statistically, just in engaging with you on this topic, just with what little information I have, I'm safe to assume a person in your position is racist if I'm more interested in starting the conversation in the most truthful place. Statistically, most likely truthful.
I mean, you can phrase it however you want. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with it, but you could, the thing is though, if you get stuck in the ideologically of, if we only have two choices and we don't make a open point for voting something entirely different either, not that I didn't show that because I didn't vote, independent both of those years. But if we get into where we can only accept a two-party system, then ideologically that is flawed as well. Because
I agree.
If we say, we can only vote this or only vote that, we have to actively in voting something.
How does not voting affect the two-party system at all?
Right.
Yeah, that's why I pointed out, because
you're not going to be like, not a lot of people voted. Maybe we should do something different. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, here's my pitch to you. On all years that end in an odd number, try and take down the two-party system. And on all years that end with an even number, focus on the elections as they actually exist, not how you wish they were. Because the even numbers are either the midterms or the general elections. And those are the days that you have to go, all right, well, fuck, right now I have higher priorities and problems. During the midterms, you can probably do both. In fact, arguably, the midterms is definitely when you should do both, and definitely during the primary season. But once you're actually in a presidential election cycle, shut the fuck up about this year being the third party year. It's not going to happen. And you can go ask Gary Johnson, who thought that everything was so crazy happening between Trump and Hillary Clinton. He literally said on air, it's like, you know what I see? I see that I'm going to be president. That's what Gary Johnson's understanding was of the chaos of the two-party system in 2016 and how he just being another option, this was going to be the year for third party. It's 2025. Focus your ass off for the rest of them. I'll give you until March on third party, on making third party and breaking the two-party system. Then, because you won't by the time April rolls around, you spend the midterm time getting candidates who, even if they themselves don't say Medicare for all, you have good reason to believe that when the Medicare for all vote happens in front of them, they will vote for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can do that, or I can do that. But if we fundamentally stick with a two-party system, it will never change. Like, I think it's one of those things that's going to be, and that's okay. But things have changed under the two-party system. We have to continue.
And again, how does not voting do anything to upend the two-party system? They don't. That doesn't change anything. They just go, oh, cool, there's less votes for me to have to worry about. That means maybe I can get across the finish line with fewer votes. Like, it doesn't change anything. I don't understand. It's not a protest. Nobody's looking at that and going, wow, they protested. We should change the system so they vote now.
Yeah. Tyler, go ahead and give your final thoughts here, because we're kind of 20 minutes in and we're looping. So just go ahead and give your final thoughts.
No, I mean, I think the fundamental point is no matter what system I think we put in place, it's going to be corrupted by people because people have there's many people who just have bad intentions or seek something with power. Fundamentally, if we keep voting on a two-party system, we'll never break the cycle. Granted, I've definitely enabled into that because I didn't vote, and that's a very fair criticism, and I have to acknowledge that because logically you're not wrong for calling out the hypocrisy either. But I think just sitting there and saying we have to keep feeding into two systems, it doesn't actually get to the end goal of what we're looking for. And maybe that's something I have to personally change.
You have to participate where you
the system. Jimmy just laid out for you a specific. We're not saying you have to feed into the two-party system. Jimmy just laid out for you specifically how you can combat the two-party system from within the system that we currently have, which happens to be two-party. Like, voting doesn't mean you're feeding into the system. Like, it means you're participating in the system that exists, and you have to affect any kind of change.
Tyler, actually, if you genuinely believe in undermining and destroying the two-party system, by the end of the night, donate to Zohran Mamdani's campaign. Because while he is running as a Democrat, it is direct exposure that people actually want more than Democrat and Republican. And remember that his party, or that his race, is the race that actually has the most third-party possible winner. Because right now, the Republican is only polling at like 15%. His main opposition is a Democrat who's running as an independent to try and take back the DNC and make it more of the two-party system again. So let me know, Tyler, and I will shout you out on this channel if you send me a receipt that you contributed to Zohran Mamdani because your main thing is you want to do whatever is heading toward breaking free of the two-party system. That is the number one thing you could do today to that end. I will shout you out for having done it if you'll shoot me an email with the receipt that you did it.
Said Zohran Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani. He's running for mayor of New York City. And right now he won the primary. He is from the Democratic Socialists of America, but he ran as a Democrat and won the primary against Andrew Cuomo, who used to be the governor of New York. Andrew Cuomo is who the DNC likes more. So Andrew Cuomo is not dropping out. Instead, he's running against Zohran as an independent. If he wins, he'll go back to being a Democrat. And essentially, he is running as a Democrat to keep the actual left out of having actual power, to basically say like, no. We keep it to Democrats and Republicans and nothing else. So go give money to Zohran Mamdani, the person, he is the Democrat candidate, but isn't an actual Democrat, because that is the closest you are getting to actually breaking the two-party system, and his victory will be in that direction, just like what AOC and Bernie are doing right now, which Zoran is often traveling with those two. If you're wondering who he is, you'll probably recognize him. I don't know how much of him is getting to in Indiana.
I think Zoran hit his
campaign
limit.
I'm sure there's a pack or something. Yeah, find out. See if you can.
Yeah, the only thing I can say is I haven't really kept up on anything that's outside of my local state, so I wouldn't.
Then Tyler,
really
don't pretend
know.
you give a fuck about breaking the two-party system.
I can look into him. I can look into him, and I can see if he does have ideologies that I can follow and believe in and go in. Then yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem.
He supports Medicare for all. He's probably further left than you are comfortable. But if you said you are for Medicare for all and breaking the two-party system, then I don't care. Like, what are you gonna be mad? He wants to give New Yorkers free buses? What possibly could it be after that? If your priorities are Medicare for all and breaking the two-party system, the number one thing you can do right now is support leftist candidates who are basically breaking apart the DNC establishment, because that is the first thing that has to go to actually have it, because the Republicans aren't going to fucking do it. All right, Tyler?
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Absolutely. Hey, it was a good conversation. I appreciate you picking up the call. You definitely gave me a lot to think about, and I really appreciate the conversation.
Cool.
Later,
all right.
Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler. Also, ignore that Zoran is Muslim. I know that's going to be the excuse that you use. Okay, bye. I just, I don't know. Let's just be honest. Let's just jump ahead of it.
Now, listen, Tyler was frustrating in a few points, but I appreciate that Tyler actually answered questions, actually engaged, and he's a lot more similar to the conservatives I actually know in my personal life. Almost every conservative that I know in my personal life isn't like a what?
Except that one. I'm not going to tell the people who, but there is that one.
I was just going to say, there are a few like MAGA cultists in my family, but for the most part, the MAGA people or the conservatives that I know are like anti-corporate and that kind of sentiment. And that seemed like kind of where he is. And so I definitely like that there is a unity to be found there with the conservatives horseshoeing around to the far left.
I just texted you what I meant because I don't know if you got it.
I don't think I did get it. Oh yeah. I talked about that live. My cousin was one of the Nazis. Not technically my cousin. We have a mutual aunt
by marriage,
related through marriage. So like we've been to a lot of family gatherings together, but one of the Nazis in the Young Republican group chat was one of my distant relatives. Yeah.
But like one of the big ones.
Yeah, one of the big ones, the state senator. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to go that specific. I was just going to say, you've seen his picture if you've seen like headlines connected to the debate. Every time I see him, I'm like, and there's Arden's cousin.
It's funny, when I texted our mutual aunt, hopefully she wouldn't be mad at me for saying this. I don't think so. She's very vocal about her opinions and that she's not aligned with him at all. I was like, hey, I just want to be super sure before I talk about this publicly, but this is your nephew, right? And she was like, unfortunately, yes. I'm like, she's ashamed to be related to you, motherfucker. Eat that.
We all are. I'm ashamed. We're distantly related. Us and everybody. Do you want this last call? They just called in. We can. I don't know. I'm good to go too, though.
I leave it in your hands. I'm here for the ride. If you want to take it, I can
be the driver. I might even walk away for a minute if you wanted this call.
Do I want it that bad?
We could tell them to call back.
Yeah, have them call back. I'll be back on again. Yeah. They can call back. They don't care about me. They're here to talk to you.
Maybe. I mean, my points do come with being a man, and that does add credibility. So, John, call back another day. We're tired. We're ready to go. We'll be back on this show on Sunday, myself and Javon. And we've got a Saturday show if you want to talk to a socialist and biologist over on the line, Forrest and Erica. We've got shows literally every day of the week except Friday. So like,
there's one Friday.
Just call back 9. Sorry about that, John, though. We're ready. I'm exhausted. I think Mike took it out of me. It was just it was like, honestly, you know what it was? It was like arguing with my mom. That's why.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
completely. I
Thank you,
again,
Chris.
you can misgender me the whole call. I genuinely do not care. It's
Yeah.
like somebody telling me my eyes are blue and insisting my eyes are blue. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I live in the real world and talk to people and know what I look like and know how they see me. So I don't give a fuck what you want to try to do. It's so obviously
Yeah.
forced. It's embarrassing. I can't. It upsets me that you are compulsively lying, and this is why these MAGA cultists. Have you seen actually
Because I want
that
a
show?
Saturday, Clark.
The show with Chad Colkin and Haley Pot. They talk to their parents who are like hardcore MAGA cultists.
Yeah. I've thought about reaching out. I feel like we probably could get them.
They were just on Javon's podcast, so there's probably a connection
I'll probably do that.
I don't know who they are on religion or anything like that, but
I don't care.
their dad
They don't
is
seem to be pro-Catholic.
oh my god. I can kind of tolerate their mom. Their mom feels like my mom, where I'm like, oh, my mom's not even MAGA, but like similar reasoning sometimes. But like, oh my god, their dad. I'm like, bro, I want to flip a table whenever he opens
them in a way that they don't come on.
Annoying.
But I gotta tell you, is mom's middle name Stockholm? Because that's the vibe I get. Just a little bit. Hey, and I guess the final thought that I want to give as we go, and after I say this, Luthien, if you would fade us to black immediately after, no song, just this final thought. Not one of you noticed my haircut.